This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
It is the After Party live on a Wednesday, and welcome to it. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for being here. And happy birthday to Sandy. Woohoo! It is Sandy's birthday, and because I'm the full screen, maybe I can make myself the small screen. Maybe I can do it. And then if I can do that, then I can put the balloons up. So we'll give Sandy some birthday balloons. Yay. Happy birthday, Sandy. I hope it's a wonderful, wonderful day. It sounded like a Lawrence Welk. Wonderful, wonderful. But a happy birthday. Thank you for spending a bit of it here on the After Party Live. And we celebrate you today. So wonderful. Happy birthday to you. And thank you to everyone who contributes to the After Party Live and keeps this show going. I saw another one come through the PayPal from Wes today for $5, and overnight recurrent payments came in from Harold, who sets it for $5 once a month. I so appreciate that. Gretchen's came through with $11, Carol with $25, and then yesterday Wes again with another $5. You guys, so cool. Thank you very much for supporting this show and keeping it rolling. The PayPal information is in the show description and in the About tab. 2 places to find it. So if you're looking for it, it should be easy to do. It is party time. Party time for you, Sandy. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you guys again for all the comments and for being here. Nancy with the birthday wishes, Gordon with the birthday wishes, be aware, Jim. Yeah, happy birthday, Sandy. Remember Lawrence Welk, Mr. Bubbleman? When I was a little kid, I can remember my grandparents watching that on, I want to say Sunday nights right after the Disney special. So, way back when, right? Yeah. I try to have the balloons. Sometimes it's not possible, but yeah. Well, let's jump into it because I do have some stories for you guys. Among them, official names for the eaglets. The 2 remaining eaglets, they now have their names. There was a big naming contest underway. The Friends of Big Bear sponsored this. You had to pay, it was a fundraiser. You had to pay like $5 for one name that you submitted and more if you wanted to submit multiple names. And then they whittled those down to the top 30. And now we have 2 names for the 2 surviving eaglets from the Big Bear bald eagles, Jackie and Shadow. The larger chick is named Sunny, and the smaller chick is named Gizmo. Sunny and Gizmo. Cute. I kind of would have liked matching names, maybe. Like, I don't know, Sunny and Cloud or Sunny and Stormy, something like that. But okay, Sunny and Gizmo it is. The people have voted. The people have nominated. The names are in. Sunny and Gizmo. Meet Sunny and Gizmo. There were more than 54,000 names submitted. And again, narrowed down to 30 finalists, all done by 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students at Big Bear elementary schools to vote on. So the public nominated, the students voted. Some of the finalists that made it into the top 30 names, Sky, Sunny and Sky would have been cute. Sky, Crackle, Griffin, Cloud, Sully, Arden, Riley, Rain, Sunny and Rainy, Striker, Hutch, Branch, Gizmo, Liberty, Star, Jade, Charlie, Talon, that's cute, Cloudy, Blaze, Valor, Gilly, Jalen, Tally, Belle, Sassy, Passion, Swift, probably for Taylor Swift, and maybe because the eagle's flight is mighty and swift. Destiny, Flyer, and Sunny. So Sunny and Gizmo, the winners in this one. Yeah. They did name the one chick that didn't survive Misty, but that was done, I think, outside of the naming contest, and it was named after one of the volunteers at the Friends of Big Bear who recently passed away. So the 3rd one was Misty. So it's Sunny, Gizmo, and then Misty was the one that didn't make it. So there you go. We got some names going on there. Nice. We also, this may have happened to you before, speaking of birds. It's happened to me. There is a bunch of wild turkeys that live in the parking lot of my children's pediatrician's office. And sometimes you'll see this band of wild turkeys roaming around and they will peck tires and you kind of have to stay in your car for a minute before you get out. The There's video of this mailman who is kind of being followed, I'll say attacked by these wild turkeys. Check out this video. Go away. He's moving fast. They can be mean. I mean, they'll start pecking you. They seem to be okay so far, but they're following him. They're following him all over the place. Go away. He's going to attack himself. He's going to protect himself with the person's box. Go away. And there it is. Yeah. The poor mail carrier. I'm telling you, these people, they have to deal with so much, including potential attacks by wild turkeys. It looks like he got away okay, but they were chasing him in this Massachusetts neighborhood, and the whole thing was caught on video, of course, by a home security camera. The the mail carrier says, and I'll play it again just because it's kind of funny. The mail carrier says that he has had this kind of thing happen before with dogs. He says, I do a lot of stuff on Nantucket, so I see deer all the time, but this is my first time with turkeys. He said, once I got out, they came after me. You saw me defending with a box and whatnot. When I got on the step, I was like, okay, here we are. Got to get back and make a run for it. He said the turkeys chased him right out of this neighborhood. Every time I moved the truck, he said, the turkeys followed. It's already given him a reputation. All day long, he said he's gotten texts saying, gobble, gobble, gobble. He said, I can't imagine what Thanksgiving is going to be like this year. So people are giving him a hard time. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. You know, being a mail carrier comes with all kinds of challenges, including, are you going to be able to keep your job? Is the post office going to be privatized, or are the wild turkeys going to chase you through your neighborhood? I'm telling you. I do have another animal story I wanted to bring to you, and this I just saw on SF Gate today. There have been an increase in sightings of gray whales in the San Francisco Bay. According to SF Gate, near record sightings reported in the bay. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I don't think I've ever, other than the watching on the sidelines for. Didn't we have one named Dawn? Delta Dawn. Yeah, I've never actually seen a whale in the bay. But wildlife experts are saying look out for these gray whales in the bay because we have reached near record. The Cetacean Conservation Biology team at the Marine Mammal Center in Sausalito, they've been really monitoring up closely these whales, gray whales, since the beginning of March. And they've seen a significant uptick in the presence of gray whales last week. At least 7 of them, possibly as many as 9, seen in the San Francisco Bay in a single day. And that is quite high. They're not all staying in the bay. Some are moving out, and a couple maybe look a little underweight, according to the Marine Mammal Center. But they've got a team out there on the water. They're doing some land-based surveys as well. So the experts are keeping an eye on them in the bay. This is pretty cool. There was a gray whale that did wash up on Alcatraz Island Saturday morning. So, yeah, maybe some of them aren't so healthy. Yesterday, day before rather, Monday, there was a team of scientists that looked into why that ship died and trying to figure out, was it a ship strike or what happened there. But they do say this uptick in gray whales is pretty exciting to see. It also, well, exciting raises concerns about whale safety in the bay. So they want to get the word out. If you know anyone who regularly takes a boat out on the bay, let them know there's more gray whales out there this year, because the Marine Mammal Center says multiple ferries have had to stop or change course after getting real-time reports of whales over the last couple of weeks. And it's really important that boaters are aware of what's going on out on the bay so that they can keep an eye out. The quote is, being a whale alert while on the San Francisco Bay this time of year is really important, especially with the weather being a little more overcast, hazy than normal. The extra insight, they say, is invaluable to our marine experts who can geolocate them quickly and provide information to boaters that can then help save their lives. So, in the spring, the North Pacific gray whale population stops by the San Francisco Bay on its 10,000-mile long migration. They do it every year. It's one of the longest of any mammal. They're heading to the feeding grounds in the Arctic. So, but they do feed out in the bay sometimes as well. Yeah. So they're in the bay. Keep an eye out for the whales. It's cool. There's been a Star Wars auction, and here's what they're selling. They're selling the bow carried by Chewbacca, and they're also selling the medal from Luke Skywalker that he wore around his neck. Yeah. So if you're looking for some movie memorabilia, you can get your hands on the bowcaster and the medal. Well, you can't anymore because they already sold. Oh, it's called the Medal of Yarvin. Yeah. The bowcaster used by Chewbacca in the original Star Wars trilogy. How much do you think it went for? I would say probably a lot, right? And that's quite a piece of movie memorabilia right there. $75,000. That's how much it sold for. The medal given to Luke Skywalker at the end of A New Hope. Ooh, how much do you think that one went for? There it is. $370,000. That's how much it went for. Those are some big numbers. The Chewbacca weapon, which was featured in all 3 of the first Star Wars movies between 1977 and 83, it sold for more than its estimate of between 250,000 and 500,000. I said $75,000. I'm sorry. I took out a zero. 750,000 is how much it went for. Technically, the item sold for $768,000. This is the Chewbacca weapon. $768,000. Let me correct myself. That's how much it went for. It's a real Horton crossbow modified kind of to give it a futuristic look. It served as a laser weapon. They did remove some of the components. The missing parts have been recreated, according to the auctioneer. So yeah. They say this weapon is one of the rarest Star Wars hero props in existence. $768,000. And this medal that was given to Luke Skywalker after he destroyed the Death Star in A New Hope in 1977, that one was sold for $378,000. The Medal of Yavin was presented to Skywalker by Princess Leia. It was estimated to bring in between 300 and 600,000. So that's kind of expected, 378, maybe on the low end. It's also believed to have been worn by Harrison Ford, who played Han Solo during rehearsals. They say it's the first and only medal to be offered for public sale coming from the collection of props master Gerard Bourque, who worked on the original Star Wars films. So that's pretty cool. People paying big bucks for these things. And I can see why. That's a some people, the movies are really important to them in their childhood. Yeah, I have this story about Ikea. They're building a really long one. One of the complaints about IKEA in the past is that the store is so big. And even though they have arrows painted on the floor, this way, headed you're going this way next. It can be a bit of a maze, and some people say it's really easy to get lost in an IKEA. So now IKEA has built this 2-kilometer long store, and the whole point of building it like this is so that it's impossible to get lost in. They haven't built it yet. They're working on plans for it. It will stretch in length to accommodate all the necessary showrooms and warehouse space and all of these things. And they're still keeping the blue and yellow colors on the building, but it's got this long, narrow volume. And they were responding to concerns that keep coming in about people getting lost inside IKEA stores. They have this one-way floor plan, but sometimes it doesn't help. So these designers were brought in to do this special thing. Here's how it will look inside. You can see they have a map. Here's the entrance. I mean, it seems to be very clear cut. They'll probably still have the arrows on the floor. You just have to walk all the way through. So there it is, your long IKEA store. The solution, they said, is to build one that's impossible to get lost in. The store has only one floor, so not like the IKEAs of the past, they're multiple stories. One floor, customers enter at one end, they're directed to walk straight ahead, passing through the first showrooms, followed by the marketplace section and self-service furniture area, and finally, you get out the checkout, and that's it. There's a hop-on, hop-off travelator that will be available to transport you, like one of those walkways at the airport. You just hop on, and like a people mover scoots you through IKEA. The food court will be right in the middle, with a fast lane travelator conveying customers who want to eat but not shop the full length of the store. They still will have no windows in IKEA. That's a hallmark of IKEA, no windows at all. So that stays, the no window thing. They say that despite the switch to a linear floor plan, the planned store will copy existing IKEA locations by not having any windows. We want it to still be a recognizable IKEA experience. Okay. So this is the new IKEA store. I guess the next time they build a new IKEA, it'll look like this. Oh, yeah. I don't know. Just because people get confused, I don't think means you need to completely change the store. I mean, they have the arrows on the thing. There are staff members to ask, how do I get out of this place, right? Whatever. The, there were internal documents apparently showing what appear to be designs for a building styled on a giant meatball, because IKEA is famous for its Swedish meatballs. But I don't think they're going to do that. So we'll see. It's very long. Looks like a giant container truck. I'm glad they have the people mover though, because that's a long walk through IKEA. What if you want something that's kind of on the other end, you got to get on the people mover and move on. You talk about AI for just a moment. Who is copying, or what is being copied, rather, to form AI? It turns out there's a shadow library being used by Meta to train their AI. And now Meta is being sued by a group of authors saying Meta's breaching copyright laws by using this so-called shadow library, they call it LibGen, to develop its AI software. Meta says we're not doing that. They think the case should be thrown out. But a group of authors from the UK say they feel sick to see their book titles appear in this shadow library that Meta is allegedly using to help develop their AI software. One of the authors says, "It's my whole life. The thought someone in Silicon Valley or wherever is taking my work to produce identikit fake AI versions is really, really upsetting." The tool to search the LibGen database ended up published. The Atlantic published it last week. Score another one for the Atlantic, right? From Signalgate to LibGen. The Atlantic publishes it last week after the court documents were filed as part of a lawsuit by Sarah Silverman and other authors against Meta. Meta, of course, owns Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Meta, they say, is breaching copyright laws by using LibGen, the shadow library, operated anonymously, that allegedly contains millions of pirated copies of books, journal articles, and other materials, all to develop its AI software. So again, Meta denies this. The tech company says it doesn't violate copyright laws by downloading books for some parts of LibGen to train its AI system, which is called Llama 3. They said they made fair use of the material and that Llama 3 does not replicate authors' works. So I don't know. I can see why all these authors are pretty upset. There's a Society of Authors trade union describing Meta's alleged behavior as appalling. They say the company needs to compensate the rights holders for all the works that it's been exploiting. One author has written 40 books. Her name's Rowan Coleman. She said it's every single book I've ever written that's on the list. Every single one. She said, I felt absolutely sick. I have no way of knowing how much revenue this has cost me. Like most writers, I struggle to pay the bills. I have 3 jobs and children to support and a mortgage to pay. There are tech billionaires who are profiting from my work and the work of countless other authors as well. How can that be right? She says. They just did it to get what they needed cheaply and quickly. But in addition to whether or not these authors should be paid for using their work, there's another issue here brought up by Sky News, which is it's a threat to the profession of being a writer or an author. Is the threat to this profession even being able to continue to exist? That perhaps there's a genuine risk of not having any books for people to actually pirate, at least not ones that are written by human beings. And they highlight this show that you may have heard Tim Sika recommend recently, which is called Adolescence on Netflix. They say we wouldn't have that if it wasn't for writers sitting down and working for hours and hours on it. So from, movies based on books, there's all kinds of things that we won't have if AI takes this over. So we'll see how this case goes. I'm going to keep my eye on this one. Let's go to space. How about we go to Mars? Yeah, they have this reddish, as if there's a bunch of people there. Mars has a reddish dust floating around in the air. And that dust, according to researchers, is likely going to be toxic. We're talking about, with Elon Musk, people living on Mars by 2030. But the new thinking is that particles on the red planet can be as coarse as asbestos. Yeah. Not only would anyone on Mars have to deal with deadly solar radiation, nighttime temperatures dropping super, super low, an unbreathable atmosphere, but also Martian dust. They know this because there are cameras aboard NASA's Mars rovers like Perseverance and Curiosity that have documented the landscape here. The image resolution, though, they think fails to showcase massive amounts of powdery dust that blankets Mars terrain. Microscopic grains called regolith, much more fine than the standard dust particles found on Earth. Not only that, they say previous analysis shows Martian regolith is more coarse than most Earth particulates. And that combination would make it more abrasive and more damaging if a person were to inhale or ingest it, much like asbestos. They published a study on this Mars regolith last month in the journal GeoHealth, where scientists were reviewing the existing geological surveys of Mars and focusing on these 10 documented materials already well known for their health hazards: perchlorates, damaging thyroid glands, leading to aplastic anemia. Yeah. The abundant amounts of silica on Mars, they say, more than enough to cause silicosis, which is an incurable respiratory disease that used to be common among stoneworkers. The regolith particles would include iron oxides and gypsum, trace toxic metals, including arsenic, beryllium, cadmium, and chromium. That causes a bunch of other problems: cancer, weakened immune system, gastrointestinal inflammation. I don't know if we're going to be living on Mars. Yeah. They do say while the spacesuit will protect astronauts during excursions into the hostile outside, they can only do so much once they return to base, because an average speck of Martian dust measures around 3 micrometers, so it's about the size of a spore of mold. And it makes it difficult to clean a spacesuit and keep it from piling up in living quarters or back inside of a spacecraft. That exposure to Martian dust could come from dermal exposure, ocular or eye contact, or ingestion, inhalation through oral and nasal cavities. And once you ingest it, they say it won't be going anywhere quickly. The dust would likely penetrate the immune defenses of the respiratory tract, and the mucus in the lungs won't be able to expel these kinds of dust particles because they're too small. And that'll cause us lung irritation, absorb into our bloodstream, and lead to diseases in astronauts. We're not going to Mars. Come on. That's not safe. The dust would kill us. If the radiation doesn't get us, the dust will kill us. Come on. I've been holding on to this story for a couple of days, but I want to get to it now. This is about Florida. Maybe I should have saved it until Friday, but we're doing it now anyway. This is a story about archaeologists finding a rare reminder of the reign of Britain over the nation's oldest city, which we had as a trivia question the other day: St. Augustine, Florida. Founded by the Spanish in 1565, it was ruled by the British for 20 years. So just a brief British rule there in St. Augustine. In this city, there are requirements that archaeologists do a survey when a house is going to be built within the historic district area here. And if they need to do an excavation, then they're allowed to do that. And that's what happened here. They're trying to salvage and document whatever remains of the past could lie beneath the topsoil of America's oldest city. So, this single family home was going to be built in Lincolnville, which is a neighborhood in St. Augustine that was once the home to a Native American village. Then it was an orange grove plantation. It was a historically Black community. There's all kinds of things about this area that are interesting enough to send the archaeologists out. So when they went out for initial testing, archaeologists dug a 1-foot by 1-foot hole across this vacant lot, and immediately they found something. The soil, they say, just looked really odd. Kind of like rye bread, mottled with different colors mixed in together, telling them someone has dug up this soil before. So they brought out the ground penetrating radar and a backhoe, and they stripped back the soil from this site. And when they did, they discovered a long 15-foot wide ditch that extended across the whole property line. You can see evidence of it there in the middle. Here's a picture of the ditch. You can see this ditch right across there. And you're thinking, as I was too, a ditch, huh? All right, so what? Apparently, It was evidence of British fortifications built during the 20-year interlude when Britain controlled Florida in the mid 18th century. They took over St. Augustine in 1763 after the Treaty of Paris ended the 7 Years' War and 2 centuries of Spanish rule over Florida. So they find this ditch. When British inherited Spanish forts, they added this network of 7 redoubts, which are long earthen mounds, in an effort to beef up the defenses here. And that, according to archaeologists, is what's interesting about these British redoubts. They are the only defenses that the British built themselves. This one, pictured here on the screen, was built in 1781. They used it as part of a secondary ring of defenses to protect the city from attacks from the west and the San Sebastian River. The comparison of these redoubts is like a gun platform or someplace people could shoot at their enemy. It didn't house soldiers. There was no trash to discover, nothing like that. Maybe 1 or 2 soldiers would have been placed here. So they haven't found very many artifacts, but they did find seeds at the bottom of this ditch, including tobacco, okra, and muscadine, which could be evidence of historical agriculture plants grown to reinforce this area. When the British left St. Augustine 2 years after this redoubt was built, it's likely that they raised these earthworks into ditches and let the defenses naturally deteriorate. So they knew about them, archaeologists, for a long time, but they couldn't pinpoint exactly where they were. And now they know, because there were some discrepancies in historical maps of the British St. Augustine. They were all slightly different sizes, slightly different dimensions. So there you have it. They got lucky. They hope this first redoubt site can serve as an anchor to reference against the historical maps so that they can locate the 6 other locations of the British Defense Network. Pretty cool. They say you never really know till you put a shovel in the ground. Thank goodness they have that rule so they could find it. Let's go back to the picture. So here's what it looked like. You can kind of see that ditch running across the property there. I'm surprised anyone even knew what that was. Kind of cool. All right, let's get to the headline story. It's a thruple bed. I know. I guess we needed to have this in the world. There are thruples among us. I don't judge. Whatever you want to do. Now we've got a bed for it, though. You know, the more the merrier. Come on in. They've designed a 3-person bed for thruples and threesomes. The designer Gustav Westman, the story out of Dazine magazine, they've designed this sex-positive dating app Field, and they've devised this bed for at least 3 people to, they say, make an invitation to explore what's new and possible. This designer is known for chunky, colorful homeware. You can see that here. See, to me, it kind of looks like a kid's bed, like a toy or something. Its primary colors: yellow, red, blue, green. They've got some purple in there. Very bright and bold and like blocks almost. Yeah. But big, and apparently rocks back and forth. It's a bed on the move. This installation marks the designer's first bed created to invert the traditional 4-poster structure into a curvaceous, retro-looking bed large enough to accommodate at least 3 people at once. Composed of a looped metal frame, the bed is fitted with a bright blue half-moon-shaped mattress crowned with a pale blue topper. At one end of the bed, a TV and large speakers built into a blocky red mount, with 5 circular lamps and 2 mirrors set within a similar yellow and green and purple fixture suspended above. So those are mirrors up above. Yeah. The designer says, I've created a multifunctional environment that encourages spending more time in bed with more people. It transforms the bed from a private space into a social interactive space. It's a collaboration with this dating app called Field, celebrating sexual diversity and relationships and polyamory and something called aromanticism. I've not heard of it before, but okay. And the designer said the bed for me is a place where I do everything from eating to hanging out with friends. So there you go. You got this giant bed with lots of mirrors. Here's a close up. I have a close up of this guy in the bed. Uh-huh. You have to see it. He he does a lot of things in this bed, I guess. In his bed. This might soon be his bed cuz, it's made for I call the picture guy in bed. You can see the mirrors better in this picture up above. There they are. You got the mirrors, you got the TV, you got the speaker. I'm surprised there's not a little fridge in there. So, you can just stay in there and never have to get out of bed. It's a bed existence. There's your throuple bed. Yep. It looks pretty comfy in there. Pretty good. I don't the thing for me, I don't judge how many people you want in your bed, but I just think that bed's ugly. Perhaps, and I've thought this for a long time, that there needs to be a bigger bed built. Because every day I'm ending up with a kid or a dog in the bed. There's always extras in my place for a different reason, right? People don't feel well, they've had a nightmare, they come in, you know, always need for more space. So a bigger bed, not a bad idea. But this one, I wouldn't want this bigger bed because I just think looks like a child's toy. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. Mhm. This bed, they say, was designed to be paired with other Westman design add-ons. They've got a bedside table, playfully named One Night Stand, and a chunky wine glass holder, and they have a juice squeezer shaped like a special toy. Yeah. Here's the juice squeezer. I just have to show you. Oh my gosh. I have to show you the juice squeezer so that you can see what kind of toy it's shaped like. I don't know why I feel obligated to show you, but I do. So here's the juice squeezer. I'll show you this. I know. It's awfully big. I don't think it's meant for human beings. But there it is. There's the juice squeezer. You see that right there? His designs are very, I don't know, big and obvious, I guess you could say. It's interesting. I don't know. I don't know what I think about all this. Speaking of designs, though, I wanted to show you this hotel. It's called a surrealist hotel, and it looks like a regular building, modern building, but up on top, it's got an old mansion slapped right on top of the building. Look at that. So interesting. The designer, and this is I just love artists. The designer has this whole story to go along with the 9-story Maison Heller Hotel in Metz, France. That it's this, of course, as you can see here, a building topped with a 19th century mansion. And so the designer's name is Stark, and they have this surreal story of an imaginary man that they've named Manfred Heller, whose mansion was thrust 9 stories into the air. And here's the story from the designer Stark. Manfred Heller has inherited his parents' beautiful house. As an orphan, he finds himself all alone in the mansion, surrounded by a large park. Everything's going well for him until he starts to get bored. To cope with his boredom, he tries to invent everything. An extraordinarily rigorous and inventive man, he doesn't necessarily succeed in everything he undertakes, but it's always done with intelligence and poetry, guided by a naive desire to create meticulously at all costs. In Stark's story, Heller was in the mansion when it was raised into the air without warning. And here's what he wrote in the story. It's springtime. He's daydreaming in his armchair. Suddenly, the earth begins to tremble. He doesn't understand what's happening. He looks around and realizes, to his aghast, that he's going up in the air along with his park, his house, and his armchair. He climbs and climbs until the shaking stops. Then there's silence. Manfred is high above the city, his house extruded, as if a cookie cutter has arrived from below and cut off the earth's cap and mounted it vertically. The house on top of this hotel serves as an event center. You can have your special parties here in the house up on the very tippy top. There are whimsical objects placed through the room. Crystal hammer, plastic anvils, weird looking rocking chairs. Yeah. It's interesting, I'll give it that. The hotel is a surreal building by Stark. The reception is on the ground floor. There's a restaurant in there dedicated to Heller's imaginary lover. The mansion and the restaurant have bright interiors and dark furniture. It's interesting. I don't know. I mean, it's, you look at this, it would catch my attention. If I was looking at this hotel, I would wanna go look at it, if only because there's a house sitting on top of this hotel. It's an interesting story. I just think the artists are so interesting in the way they manufacture stories to create the the story goes along with the building. Yeah. All right. We have to talk about the lotto story of the day. I don't think we'll have time today for a waterfall, but we do have a lottery story. And it involves a lottery ticket being left in a coat pocket. Now, I almost didn't win this one. It's easy to lose those lottery tickets. You really have to keep track of them. This one is out of Pennsylvania. This woman donated this jacket to charity and then realized she left a lottery ticket in the pocket that was worth $2.5 million. Her name is Mildred. She's 76. She said she bought a ticket for Pennsylvania's Cash 5 drawing at the Shop and Save in Murraysville, Pennsylvania. 2 weeks later, she said she was surprised to learn that she matched all 5 numbers. So she tried to find the ticket, but realized, oh no, she left it in the pocket that she donated, a pocket of a jacket that she donated to Vietnam Veterans of America. That's quite a donation. She said, I'm stupefied. There are no words for it, no expression. How do I get it back? She tried to track down the jacket, but soon she learned the charity sends its donations out across the country, even overseas. There was no way to track down this item. The Pennsylvania Lottery said, sorry, ma'am, you can't claim that prize unless you've got your lottery ticket in hand. The ticket expires on May 8th. What else can I do? She said. Cry out loud, hope something will happen positive on my end. Yeah. She hasn't gotten it back. It's gone. $2.5 million lottery ticket left in the pocket of a jacket donated to charity. Someone will find it and check it. If it goes out across the country, though, maybe it can only be redeemed in Pennsylvania. I don't know. You got to keep track of those lottery tickets. $2.5 million. Oh, man. Check your pockets now. In California, this guy needed his truck fixed in Southern California. So he just finished a major repair job on his old truck. He was test driving it after the fix, 300,000 miles on his old Toyota truck. He had to put in a new head gasket. And he decided when he was there that he was going to cash in a set of $3 scratchers at the Smoke Depot in Desert Hot Springs. And then while he was at it, he added another dollar to his winnings by buying a $10 triple red 777 scratcher. And he got back in his old truck to play it. And he said after scratching his way down to the last row, he got the sense he'd played a losing game when he matched the number 11. He said, I only reveal the prize if I have a match. So he went back into the store and he couldn't believe his eyes when the cashier verified he'd matched a winning number for a $1 million prize. So there you go. Pretty good. Out to fix your raggedy old truck and you win $1 million. Love it. I'm glad somebody's winning. Somebody that needs it is winning. That guy needs a new truck. Absolutely. All right. That is the After Party Live on a Wednesday. Hi, Jacob.
Hi.
Welcome aboard. Jacob's home from school because it's Wacky Wednesday, an early release date. Oh, that was a nice kiss. Thank you. That's nice. We're almost done, Jake. Thank you for your patience. Yeah. Things are happening in the house. Thank you guys for being here. Boy, I'm glad you didn't come in while I was talking about the throuple bed. I don't want to have to explain that. I'm telling you. Yeah, thank you guys for being here. I just so appreciate it. I have so much fun with you guys every day. Thank you for the contributions to the show. You guys are awesome. And again, happy birthday, Sandy. Nola Fidian said it. A lot of people said it. Sandy, I hope it was a good birthday show for you. kind of a good birthday show, but I hope it's a great rest of your day. Make it the very best one. I'll meet you right back here tomorrow. Trivia Thursday tomorrow on the After Party Live. And please note that the Nikki Maduro show is at 5 p.m. So I hope you will join me for that as well. And from now until 11 o'clock tomorrow when the Mark Thompson show starts, have a really, really great day. And I'll see you back here. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
We didn't do waterfalls today. I got too preoccupied with all the other stories. I'm sorry, but I will bring trivia to you tomorrow. Do not ask me about the juicer. Oh, Susan, have the best time. Yeah. All right, Jennifer L., challenge accepted. Oh, Mars, I would give you balloons too. I'm so happy to hear it. I hope you're feeling okay. I'm glad it's over. And I hope it's very successful and that you're feeling all right.